Thank you. First of all, welcome everyone. As you heard it, we're like 30 minutes away from cocktails. I saw a question this morning already about favorite cocktails, so I think everyone is waiting for it. But before we get there, we speak a bit about growth mindset. I'm here with Bogdana from Sweatcoin and Sam from Curve. So please we actually gave a round of applause already, but another short one. Before we go into the topic, we have a few questions prepared to get an idea who's sitting in front of us. So I'd like to ask everyone to participate, which is raising your hands as long as this applies to you. And we start with the first one, where we'd like to get an idea of how large the organization is that you work in. And I think let's first see on who works in an organization that has one or more person. That should probably apply to everyone. I hope so, otherwise... All right, so keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. So who works in an organization with one or more person? Everyone, almost. Keep it up if it's more than 50 people. All right. Keep it up if it's more than 100. See a few going down. Okay, let's do a big jump, 500. Some going down, 1,000. All right, more than 5,000. Okay, so we have quite a mixed audience. Everyone has a job, apparently. The second thing we'd like to know is, how are you doing app marketing right now? Are you primarily having it in-house or outsourcing it? So first, everyone hands up who's primarily doing it in-house. Okay, looks like a majority. And outsourcing? That is just a few. Okay, interesting. And then last but not least, and that also leads into a topic of the afternoon, is who's seeing the current industry changes as an opportunity or a challenge? First, the opportunity group. Okay, seems to be about half of it. And then a challenge. Okay, so it's 50-50. Good to know. Thanks for that. So we get a bit started with our topic, and as said before, I think we managed to get like all the buzzwords of the day into our panel title today. But we want to speak a bit about the modern growth mindset and how we can embrace change as an opportunity for innovation-driven growth. So everyone who sees the industry changes as an opportunity, you probably find yourself in a few of the answers. Everyone who thinks it's a challenge, you might get a few key takeaways on how to turn it into an opportunity. But let's start with the first question, and that goes straight to you, Sam. In short, what for you are the most important elements of a growth mindset?
I was thinking about it, obviously, because I have that question. And I think about people, and I'm trying to find what is the common denominator. So then I remembered, there's a sport in Sweden called orientering. I don't know the English word for it. But it's a sport where you need to have stamina, you need to be able to run, you read a map, and you have a compass. And you need to run a certain trek, you need to stamp a card, and whoever is the fastest and can read the map the best with a compass wins. I think the perfect growth mindset for me, if I look at the people that I think are phenomenal growth, heads of growth people, they are very similar to phenomenal or even excellent orienterare, which we say in Swedish. And I think it's the ability to, maybe I'm a good runner, I got stamina, but I'm not good with the map, so I'll figure out the map, I'll learn the map to the maximum, and then master the compass. So kind of understand your limits, dig into them very deep to really master the ones that you're not strong at. But I think that's it, like there's a community, you're running together, but you want to win, so there's a competition. So anyway, so I think the perfect growth mindset for me is having that kind of being an orienterer, navigating a very tricky landscape with the intent to win it the fastest. I think that's it.
Bogdana, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, 100% agreed with Sam that it's a lot about the team and the people you work with. And why is that? Because I think the first element of a growth mindset is to practice it. So it's one thing to talk about it, to read about it, to have some idea about it, and another one to do it every day. And nobody can do it every day on their own. They need to be like in a community, the team, the partners, So I would say the next time you are thinking of a career move, picking a new team, or planning your personal growth or the team growth, consider, about your next project, not only like the product market fit or their financial status, but also does that team have a growth mindset or are they developing it? Because I think practice is what can unlock mastery. So you need to first do it every day. Then I think it's really important for any growth marketeer to ask a lot of questions and to listen intently. So this means that you really need to be able to both defend your strategy and what you know and what is already proven, but also with the right arguments to be able to, take some U-turn, try something new, and take in everything that's changed or that's new.
Yeah, landscapes change. You get a lot of no's, and the right growth mindset doesn't see that as a negative. It's a positive. Yeah. And as the landscape change, maybe now it's downhill, so you can improve the speed. And then down there is a marsh. So how do we navigate this kind of landscape? And I think, embrace it and be positive, even if it's a no, and figure out what is it that I need to do to turn it around or make it into, to pull the lever, decrease efficiency.
It does remind me a lot of my own day-to-day business, because in my role, one of the goals is help our customers grow. And the first thing I think I have to do is always ask them a lot of questions, understand how their products work and how we can help them to facilitate growth. With that, it would be interesting for me to understand, specifically for you, Bogdana, how does it impact for you knowing your own product and your audience, but also understanding the market and the ecosystem? You gave a bit of explanation already, but maybe we can drill a bit more into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can give some examples, right? So for Sweatcoin, as we are planning our global expansion last year, we are reviewing everything we knew about the user personas, the actual users, the churned users, the returned user, who are they, what are they doing? And by just digging into information, doing some interviews, we realized that Sweatcoin is not only for the active people. There were a lot of people who are not active in their daily lives, but had some intention. They just needed an extra nudge, like people recovering after COVID, after a pregnancy, or just people who wanted to do Sweatcoin as a side job. So it was a big diversity of people. So knowing that we are addressing so wide an audience, we can craft a message that is geared to this. We can draft a strategy and down to the details of a campaign. And in terms of knowing your market and the environment, I think this conference is a great opportunity to understand more for new people to the business. It's really important because then you can do some planning, some budgeting, and create some space to learn. So you will not have unlimited resources, but you need to understand about where you need to be or how much you can test, how fast, etc. So for Sweatcoin, it turned out really amazing last year, as we got to be a category leader in health and fitness in 2022. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. Sam, in your role as a growth strategist, how does that play into it?
Well, we're an agency, so we work with clients. So understanding everything about the customer journey that we can help impact. And obviously that customer journey oftentimes, I think has been mentioned a lot today, it's seconds. And our ability to create our kind of paid growth strategies to help deliver that is fundamental to understand data from clients and goals for clients and how we can make sure to drive the right, accurate growth to validate key features and key assumptions for the various experiments. So I think listening, documenting, running a lot of experiments at a high velocity and quickly sort of realizing what doesn't work and move on with what works, I think.
Thank you. We've heard a lot about, I think, growth strategies today, and I think there's a lot of marketers in here. And I think a few keywords that I heard throughout the day was a lot about product-driven growth, but also being creative when it comes to finding new channels and new approaches to attract a new user base. So for Sweatcoin specifically, Bogdana, what was the approach that you took from a marketing perspective that led to the success that you see today?
Our mantra is user first and creative first. We are listening to our users. To paraphrase like Irina's earlier presentation about our growth model, everybody can walk and everybody can talk. So we noticed that users are our best ambassadors, and Sweatcoin is growing through virality in referrals and via influencer marketing. So we really embraced that and aligned it with the paid growth, together with the team at Curve, who works with us on performance marketing. So we took UGC and made it our main language, our main creative format. So we did a short form video on basically all platforms that allow it. And we were able to really unlock some amazing scale. We created a system to deliver these creatives, so to source them, to deploy them, to evaluate them. And we found that the paid user acquisition can essentially have another nature, almost a viral nature. With the right creative, the creative that is capturing people's attention, you can reverse all the media buying traditional metrics. Like even with a higher CPM, you can get a lower CPIs and much wider reach. So this alignment of growth channels, it's really working in the direction of that compass and getting the growth loops to work together.
Besides UGC, Sam, maybe on your side, are there any innovative formats, any trends that you've either seen in the past month or anything that you see as quite an opportunity moving forward into 2023?
I think I want to follow up because what Bogdana says, and going back to how this relationship and how we formed our growth strategy to support that, it meant creative first means content, so the actual visual first becomes the top priority. And then aligning the entire team around that became a strategy. So if I look forward, it's having an increasingly smaller sized team to manage specifically a channel, so being very channel specific for each team, to really understand, unlock growth for these creatives. So you can't, I think the age of the generalist, in order to unlock significant value, I think it is sort of diminishing. And as an agency, we specialize in a couple of channels, and we do it really well because we only do that, we do nothing else. And working with Irina and Bogdana over these last couple of years have really taken that one step further. So we really dig down into the really boring numbers, the details of the channel together with the client, and then sort of try to unlock the key metrics from creative to indicate that this is a winning formula to help scale the growth. So I think creative first strategy means, from an agency point of view, becoming much more depth in each channel.
Before we go into the boring numbers that you mentioned, so obviously for Bogdana and for Sweatcoin, user-generated content has been a huge success factor. I want to turn this again to the audience, just to see, first of all, who in here is actually using it as a format to acquire users and to grow your app. So maybe just raise your hands again if you've ever either tried it or currently doing it. It's very, very, very few hands, but for those that have raised their hand, are you satisfied with it? And is it helping to reach your goals? Okay, interesting. I would have expected a lot more hands, but it's interesting to see. And I think there's also like a lot of different approaches for each and every product that work. And I think this is what particularly has been proven a successful strategy for Sweatcoin. And I think that leads nicely to the next question, which is how do you measure success and how you determine on how your strategy should look like. And it would be interesting to understand what role measurement plays for both of you within that context. I open it up to both of you, whoever wants to go first.
Yeah. So the role of measurement for us as an agency is critical, obviously, for growth. Without it, we cannot optimize for installs. We can't drive downstream event with efficiency, but also for the client relationship. If we don't have accurate data and we live in an ambiguous world, we're trying to light a football field with an iPhone. It won't work. Like, accuracy in data is the floodlights to sort of light up the entire football field. And I think if you can't have that right to start with, the relationship, for our relationship with clients, don't work. But also we can't unlock growth. So for us, it's a two-part way. It's what unlocks growth and then sort of encourages the relationship to be deeper.
So I can testify that measurement is essential, and it's getting more complex and challenging. We spend a lot of time in our team working to get accurate data. First of all, maybe even more than we would like. Then I think it's really important to measure what matters, because we all sit on so much data that it can become overwhelming, or there's a lot of irrelevant details. So I think it's really important for a team to decide their key metrics to follow and keep them on the radar all the time. So of course they can change, but not get sidetracked all the time on when something happens. And something that we are working on with our team is to have a data-informed mentality instead of data-driven. Because something doesn't happen because it happens, or because of an algorithm. My personal view, that algorithm will work because you as a marketer did something right. You had the right message to the right audience, they resonated. So when you look at the data, I think you need to trust your own experience and intuition, and you should only trust the data that you understand. So if it's something that you don't understand in your data, there's a lesson to be learned, and I would encourage people to dig deep when something like this happens, because your users are talking back to you, they are telling you something new to learn, and that's something that can help you to go where that campus is leading, and you will get closer with these lessons.
Yeah, I was just thinking, there is also this opportunity with what we do as paid, is to, when these sort of bottlenecks appear or these kind of insights occur, to be open, to set aside a separate experiment just to help validate that for clients. But I guess if there's an in-house growth component, it's the same thing. There needs to be a very agile approach to help validate and unlock these blockers or these opportunities. Because what we've seen with several clients, but specifically with Sweatcoin, when these floodgates open, paid becomes a catalyst, but the impact of that paid can really spur a growth which is significant.
Definitely.
And on that note, I have a question for you, Fredrik. If we look at the current ecosystem and the developments within that, how do you see the change in the industry impacting what you do or will do in the future?
100%, and I think probably everyone in the room agrees that not only the ecosystem, but also the whole industry, the way we do measurements, the challenges that we have are challenging everyone, developers, agencies, probably everyone here out there that offers software as well. I personally, and I think that's also why we chose a bit the title of this panel, I see it definitely more as an opportunity. Yes, it is a challenge, but it's an opportunity to question your own approach, to think outside of the box, to start innovating. And I think this is where we've seen also on our side, if we look at the customers that are doing well right now, is those that took this challenge and took it one step further. And came from, you mentioned it before, being data informed. It's like, what are the questions that are trying to answer? And not just trying to answer all your questions with a simple or one single model, but really trying to bring it down from a measurement perspective, but also in other fields, to what is the question that I need to answer? What are the information that I need to do the next step? And it's the same for us in measurement. I think measurement is getting more and more complex, but we're also thinking more and more about other initiatives, other strategies, other models that we can apply to really get insights and move onwards. We do have still a little bit of time. I wanted to see on your side as well, on that note, what are for both of you the biggest, both challenges, but also the biggest opportunities that you see at the moment with the changing environment, ecosystem, economy, etc.?
I think I feel that it's a world that it's speeding up. I think that as a performance marketer for 15 years, I've seen a lot of things happening. Like I remember one conference where I lifted my hand and I asked, what is search going to be when people will have mobile phones? So this was in Helsinki in 2007, right? And even going through all those, I would say, generational changes and massive changes in the industry, I am still amazed at how fast things are changing today. I really love today about ad platforms, because paid is my specialty. I love how fast they are learning. So I think just everything that you do can be so much more powerful, faster, and amplified faster when it's done right. So these tools are becoming more powerful. It's just us also adapting to work in a way that, you know, they fit together and actually work for our goals. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And personally, I'm like passionate about the innovation in mobile, and I still think that the guys who will innovate in this space are just turning 20. I think the guys who have been innovating are like me; they're gray old men, and women, and whatever. But I think the real innovation is yet to come. But the ones who are doing it well now, I think they really understand that privacy is here and it's going to get more. So let's dig into the product and develop that. And I think Sweatcon, for instance, have done a phenomenal job in putting that center of the product whilst being able to grow it like wildfire. So I think innovation on mobile is the biggest innovations that's yet to come from a growth point of view, and from where we come from, an agency. I think it's becoming very important to double down and become very specifically experts in a channel and having teams that dig into that. Because we can see that when we go granular and when we can invest in growing out a team about a specific, even a specific placement on a specific channel, then we can go back to clients and sort of show them best case scenarios of what we can unlock with that. And so from us, specializing, becoming increasingly more agile, and being a partner and not an agency. And I think that's where I see the biggest opportunity.
I think as well, it's really important to prepare your mindset in the direction that you're ready for change and you're expecting change. I'm probably less long in the industry than both of you. It's getting closer to 10 years, but I think even within that period of time, I've seen changes where I thought, like, okay, this is the worst change this industry has ever seen, and then 2 years later, it's just the same again. And I think we've seen this in the last couple of years, and we'll probably keep on seeing this. And I think it's important to understand that that is the industry that we're in, and I think those that succeed are those that are the fastest to adopt to change, the fastest that made that change their own opportunity, and really leverage that and move on instead of still hoping that things will get back to the good old times. But with that being said, I would like to ask both of you to give any last advice or like any piece of advice that you would like to have the audience as a takeaway from our chat today, but also maybe from the day today, because I think everything else after this is mostly having drinks. So let's make sure it's some good piece of content, because it's probably the only thing you remember tomorrow. No, jokes aside, but yeah, I would like to hear what is your key takeaway of the day and of this panel.
I will echo your words, Frederick, on adapting fast. And I would say, do not be afraid of change, embrace it and adapt. And I think that what we will have an opportunity to learn with this change far outweighs what may seem that we are losing. You know, I think that's really important, to not be afraid and have faith that what we are learning will take us forward, and that we can adapt to very challenging changes.
Yeah, I think from today, I think there's been a lot of great people speaking and showing, like really showing how they've made things work. I think Rosie really touched on something that I'm increasingly passionate about, and it's like helping not only grow, but also taking the users down the funnel of monetization. And obviously, there becomes even more critical to have a great measuring partner. I think, yeah, from a personal point of view, I think this kind of smoking ban was forced upon us, but it's phenomenal. It really helps everyone healthy. So when things change, normally for privacy reasons, for whatever, there is a benefit. You just have to see where that is and dig into it. And then, talking to customers, but really doing it, and talking to other people in the industry about problems they're facing, I think is the most underused asset, and the one that unlocks phenomenal insights. And it can be as easy as just sending an email or trying to get on a call with 1 or 2 users, or 1 or 2 peers in the industry, I think.
I love that one.
I definitely agree. I think there was a lot of keynotes, a lot of panels with a lot of different topics to take home. I think everyone has their own key takeaway. There's no secret sauce for like success. I think everyone really has to find their own way on how to make things successful. But I think what is important is try to figure out for yourself what is the key thing you took away today, and really also do the step and dare and try to implement it and really try something new to see on how that actually works. I think it's very easy to get convenient in what you've been doing for a while, and sometimes it really helps to think a bit outside of the box and innovate. And I think with that being said, we're 1 hour at time. We didn't really plan for any audience questions. It was a very broad topic as well. But if we want, we can leverage that 1 minute. Or if you want to head on, we can also let you all have finally your drinks. And that is it from your side, from our side. I would like to ask for a last round of applause for both Bogdana and Sam. And also thank all of you for having made it successfully through the day. I think that is an achievement in itself. So maybe also great applause to all of you and for everyone else that was on stage today. And we applaud with it.